How's it going, everybody? It's again, it's Fox here. This is my channel where I talk about anime, video games, cartoons, most notably Sonic and Ninja Turtles. And today, I'm here to talk about Sonic Satam. So this is going to be my 30th anniversary special for Sonic Satam and stuff. Cartoon's been around for about 30 years now and stuff. So on the day I'm uploading this, I'll put this on September 18th. So yeah. So anyways, I'm gonna talk about pretty much this video is my own recommendations for Sonic SATM or Sonally fans, or especially Archie fans, okay? Because I have a few entries on this list that I think might actually, that some fans should definitely check out. So I'm going to, talk a little bit about Sonic SATM, and then I'll give my recommendations. So, I knew of the Freedom Fighters around the time I was about 8 years old through the Sonic Mega Collection on the GameCube, but I didn't get the chance to watch SATM's show until I was, about 13, which was, 20 years after it ended. And for a while, it was how I thought the entire series should definitely be portrayed. Sonic having a bit of a tragic angle to his story, Eggman's taken seriously as a threat, even if it is just him lazing around in a base, the dark atmosphere, or Sally just being Sonic's love interest. The show does hold up to today. The voice acting, the soundtrack, the animation quality, and of course the writing. It's all it's all good. I think it's very timeless. So I respect SATM being one of the best Sonic shows for its creativity and its influence on the series. But my preference is that since I got into the series through the games and that Sonic X came out in my generation, ultimately this kind of just became my general preference in the long run. As a character, I prefer Sonic to be more noble and simple as a hero to understand, and someone who lends a helping hand, but not out of necessity. And that's not to say or undermine how well Sonic's character is written in this, either, because he does have moments like that. But I like when Sonic is just active and having fun with the audience or player, all while trying to save the world. So, ever since the Archie comics that ended about 6 years ago, the Freedom Fighters have been kind of shelved when it comes to official Sonic licensing. And while I can manage myself, a lot of fans definitely want to see their return, and for good reason. I mean, I don't blame them. My advice would be to just turn to fan fiction or just create for yourself. That way, you won't have to wait as long or just improving your own artistic talents. I rant a lot about the current state of TMNT comics and how badly it's going right now. But since I'm an artist and I'm an active reader, I can just do both, honestly. And while the IDW comics are my preference, it's not exactly everyone's bag. So some people can check out other sites and stuff where they do accommodate that, DeviantArt, for example, or just, anything else where you can post fan comics and stuff, like webtoons or something. But these are my recommendations. Alright, so starting off my list, I have A Sly Encounter. So, A Sly Encounter is a long-running fan comic series from February 13th, 2013, which was over 10 years ago, about a crossover event between the Archie Sonic comics and the Sly Cooper series. It's a different take on the Mecha Sally arc, where Mecha Sally is a robot duplicate, and the original is sent away to Sly Cooper's universe. Sally tries to make her way back by teaming up with the Cooper gang, and eventually they make their way into the Archie Sonic universe to help the Freedom Fighters save Bunny and Antoine, and then help dethrone Nagas. Some of the events of the crossover takes place between Sly 2 and Sly 3, and then later between the transition between Sly 3 and Sly 4. Luckily, I've played Sly 1 through 3, so yeah, I haven't played 4 yet. I think the writing is pretty strong and the art is good, but it can vary depending on the guest artist. But if you're a Sally fan, I think you would definitely love this webcomic, since it's since she's the sole focus and stuff. My criticism is that Sonic is hardly relevant at times, and another weird trope is that this story kind of emphasizes on the whole bottomless attires being the topic of conversation constantly. I get that it's supposed to justify and entice a certain audience, but after 5 or 6 mentions, it gets kind of weird. Even more weird seeing characters like Tangle and Styx depicted this way, even though I kind of respect the cameo, but still. Alright, so coming at number 4, I have Season 3. Season 3 is a web series and a fan continuation of Sonic SATM, following through with Ben Hurst's ideas and concepts before his passing. Nagas and Sniffly have both teamed up to pick up where Robotnik had left off, and it kind of end the Freedom Fighters' celebration of stopping him. There's currently a comic series where they introduce Knuckles, and they're currently developing a full-on web show with animations and everything like that. So that's actually pretty cool. And I think the comic actually has about, I'm not entirely sure, but I think they have like about 7 chapters currently. So you can definitely check that one out. Coming at number 3, I have Chavos. Chavos is, if I'm saying her name right, Chavos. Chavos is an artist and a fan of the Archie comics. And recently she had created a short film adapting Metal Sonic vs. Shard. If you guys remember from my live stream, I actually reacted to that. Or I put that in my live stream where I was like, looking at her video and stuff and just talking about how good this animation and everything looks. But anyways, her work is, in my opinion, nothing but flawless and stuff. She's a good animator. She's a good artist. She's very passionate. Like, she's just a very passionate fan of like the series in general. She currently has many fan comics, and she's created since like 2013, which is, again, that's like over 10 years ago. So you definitely have a lot of like 10-year references that you can look back on with Chavos. And then coming at number 2, I have Archie Sonic Online. Archie Sonic Online is a webcomic series, much like Sonic the Comic Online, by Fleetway, or which is a follow-up from Fleetway, but instead this one's for Archie. It's a different take on the pre- and post-Genesis wave of the comics, excluding the Mega Man crossover, where they kind of tie up loose ends in the arcs before the reboot had happened, like the disappearance of the echidnas, Sally being restored to normal, etc. I think this may be the closest light-hearted conclusion that we get to that type of arc or interpretation of it, so that's actually pretty nice. And then coming at number 1, I have Sonic Legacy. Sonic Legacy is another webcomic series created by an offshoot, their words, not mine, Sonic Paradox team. It's a readaptation of the Death Egg saga from the games, but with some influence from the Archie comics and Sonic SatAM cartoon. This includes some fan-made exclusive characters like Eggette and Tempest the Dolphin being written in this. Eggette being Eggman's daughter and sidekick, and Tempest being Sonic's love interest and sidekick in the first arc. So far, they've adapted Sonic 1 and 2, and I think eventually they'll get to like Sonic 3 and Knuckles, which will happen somewhere down the line. There's also an official comic dub available on Sonic Paradox's YouTube channel. So these are pretty much my recommendations to anyone that's like a fan of the Freedom Fighters, a fan of Sally, a fan of the Archie comics, or just a fan of Sonic SatAM and stuff. Like I said, overall, these aren't exactly my preferences and stuff, but I do think that these stories are actually pretty genuine and they're pretty good. And for a lot of people that do a lot of like complaining and stuff as to why like the characters are not back and stuff or whatever, inside like official licensing, I'm just saying that my advice would be to definitely to just either do fan fiction or check out other people's work and stuff. That's just my opinion though. And I know I should probably take my own advice too when it comes to Ninja Turtles. And recently, and I know this is a shameless self promotion a little bit, but I kind of just did my own fan comic and stuff of Ninja Turtles. Pretty much I wanted to give Raph a pretty good conclusion and stuff in the 2012 series and stuff. So yeah, so that's just a little example right there. But yeah, you could definitely do the same with the Archie Sonic comics or the SatAM stuff if you like really want to like create your own kind of conclusion. I do think that it would be nice to see like a spin-off or something, like an official spin-off or like some kind of like conclusion, like an official conclusion to these arcs and stuff inside the not the games, but like maybe in a show or something like Sonic Prime, for example. But we'll just have to wait and see, I guess, as things just fall in place. But anyways, this is pretty much my video. I'm the Keenest Fox. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. This is Keenest Fox, and I'm out. Peace, and until we meet again.